For this part, we're going to do the following. As with part 7, we're going to do the same idea when it comes to the bottom side of a stitch. So there will be, we're going to insert two new strings, and then after a couple of stitches of 5x5, we're getting the strings back to the bottom of a stitch, and that will be for the back legs of an Espeon. I'm only demonstrated one 5x5 stitch throughout this part. I thought to show 2 stitches, but at the end of the day the tutorial went over an hour. So I only showed one stitch, which is it's going to be the first stitch for this part. Just remember that all the 5x5 stitches are the same, just as we did with part 7. At the beginning of this part, the first stitch, it's going to be a right hand rotation. So if you had the other rotation, you need to make one more stitch, and then you start this part. And if you made the correct amount of stitches for this part, at the end stitch, you end up with a right hand rotation again. So make sure you have at the very end a right hand rotation, because if not, you'll be in a big trouble. Now, along the way also, we had the wire that was at the center. Now, at the ending of this part, the wire will be at the top side of the body. So, as you can see. To get that, at first the wire is at the center, then I make a few stitches, moving it to a different location, and after another couple of stitches, I am moving it to the top side. And another thing that you can see is that there are 2 long strings remaining, and these 2 will be for the tail. These 2 strings are pretty long, they are 2 meters long, and to do that we need to change 2 short strings. Also something that I have to say, that the final stitch, don't glue it yet. We're going to do it in part 9, because we need to do something to create the tail, and after creating the tail, we're going to glue the stitch. And of course, there are many things that I'm going to need to explain along the way, so everything, of course, will be written in the description, so you can skip to the parts that you need to see. And we'll begin. So I'll make a new stitch, and then I'll insert the 2 new strings. So these 2 new strings are 2.5 meters long, which is, I think, 8 feet long. So this stitch I'm planning to make, I'm gonna use all the strings at once, so you'll see. Just maybe some of you are more familiar with this kind of order. Okay, so all 10 strings are up and down, and now I'm gonna weave from bottom to up. This one first, and then this one. Over, under, wait a second, over, under, over, under, over, and then under, over and under. So right? Next one. Yeah, this string. So over. Let's see. So over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Okay, so now I'm gonna use my scissors. I'll stretch again. Okay, next one, this one. So under all these, sprigging from left to right. And then back. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna rotate 180 degrees and continue for left side. So the string needs to get under here. So okay, the left string, and then over under, over under, over under here, then over. Under, here. Okay. Now, I think it's better for me to continue with the left side right now, because we're getting close to the end of the stitch. So the left side first. And actually I see now there is a, you see, over, under, over, over. I made a mistake here. I need to undo here. So just a quick fix. Inside here. So this is my problem was, and just cutting back. Okay. Next, so I said I'll continue with this string. For me it's easier. Just straight through. And then I'll do the right side. So this string. Next, I'll take the far left string. Finally, the last string is this one. Okay, now finish the stitch and we'll continue with adding the new strings. So as like part 7, I need to insert it from the bottom of the stitch of a body. So this is the top side, this is the left side, this is the right side, and we need to add it to the bottom side here. So as you can see, here is the bottom side. And we want to insert our 2 new strings, one through here to the center of a stitch, which is here. So through here to the center, like that. And one for the far right side, which is here, to the center again. So again, this is the bottom side. I want to insert a string from this bottom side here, the 2 new strings from this bottom side. And yeah, we'll do it now. So my first string. From here to the center, which is here. Okay, we've got that. Just showing that it's the bottom side of the stitch, and find the center of a stitch with center of a string, which is just here's the 2 sides. So around here, the center of a string will be, and the same goes to the second string. Second string goes from here, from the far right side, from here. So just to show you all the angles. So from here to straight here, okay? Okay, and okay, you see, finding the center of a string. And now you need to stretch a stitch. So remember the 2 new strings, one side of a new string is here, one side of a second string is here, the other 2 sides will be at the center of a stitch. And you want to stretch a stitch, and you're gonna make several more 5x5 stitches. So again, every stitch will be the same, 5x5 stitch. Just remember that these 2 strings, this one and this one, don't use them for the stitch because they'll be for the back legs. Okay, so use these 5 strings, not these 2 strings. And once I made a stitch, I think on my 5th or 4th stitch, I'm gonna move this wire to a different location. So as you can see, this is the top side. I'm gonna move this wire. At the end of the day, it's gonna be here. At the end of the body, it'll be here, because I want to make it, to use it for the tail. Okay, so this will be for the tail, and the tail is gonna be at the top side over here. So I think in the 5th stitch it'll be here, and then the final stitch will be here. But I'll show you. So I made another 5 stitches, but overall, after inserting the string, the 2 strings, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. Okay, so overall it will be 6 stitches. And I want to move now the wire to a different location. So this location, the new location will be closer to the top and at the center at the same time. So it will be over here. See, this is the top of the Espeon. I want to get the wire to this space here. So in order to do that, I'm gonna unstretch this string and this string. So these two. So let me, it will take some time. Okay, so now I'm gonna move the wire. So just moving it like that underneath 2 loops. Okay, so this is moved, and I'm gonna restretch the strings. Okay, this looks okay. Let's show you. So first, the wire was exactly the center on all sides, which is here. And now I move it to this place, and I'll continue making stitches. So I'll make another two stitches, 2 or 3 stitches, it depends. So I'll make I think 2 stitches, and then I'll come back and move the wire again to the final spot, which will be over here at the center, but at the top side, so over here. Okay, so just remember, keep this wire always at this space, and I'll come back in another 2 stitches. So I made another 2 more stitches, and now I'm gonna move the wire another 2 steps. So it's gonna be now it's gonna be here at the center, at the top side. So I'll do it. I first of all take this string and this string. So I want to create the loops. And this one too. Okay, so 2 loops. I'm gonna get the wire through. And stretching them again. Okay, so this is how it's gonna go. And yeah, remember that the wire is now at the center, but at the farthest top side, as you can see, right through here. Okay, so I made 1 more stitch, and now let's count how many loops there are, starting from this left string. Okay, we count 1 from the top, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, you need to have 9 loops starting from the string. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Once you have that, and you have also this wire sticking out at the top side, you want to do the following. I want to change these 2 strings to longer strings. Okay, why? Because we need to use these middle strings, these 2, to create the tail. Okay, so the tail eventually will need longer strings than what we currently have. You can see it's very short, and we need longer strings. All the rest of the strings, all the other strings of a 5A5, I'm gonna cut them at the end of when finishing the body. Everything except these 2 strings. So we need to change these to longer strings, and that will be right now when you have the 9 loops, as said earlier. Okay, I have here. Let me take it. Okay, I have here my 2 strings. This is my first string, and I'll do it right now. Each string is 2 meters long, which is 2 times 3, 6 and 6.5 feet. Okay. Yep. So this is one of the new strings. I'm gonna take, again, these 2 strings need to change. So I'm gonna take this string for starting. I want to go. So this is 1 loop of a string. So the second loop, just pull it back. And do it slowly here. Okay, so I pulled it back, and now I'm gonna insert my new string. That's my new string. I want so, oh, you see, one of my strings broke apart. Don't worry about it, I'll just to move on. So I need to get through this loop and through this loop. Now, there's something that I don't like usually to do, but because we're gonna change the two strings to longer strings, so you can see I'm inserting the new string for loops. And meanwhile, while we're gonna do that, we need to close the loops again. Let's see, okay. Now, one of my strings here got ripped apart, but doesn't matter for you. But anyway, if it did occur to you as well, what I do is just glue the thing. But anyway, you need to glue now. Okay, so before gluing, we need to change the second string. So again, two loops. One, this is a second string that you need to change. So this, not this one, this one. So we need to grab this loop, and you want to pull back the string very slowly, not like what I am doing right now. Okay, so we get to the final. Okay, I got back to loops. So because I have here a broken string, I ended up getting 3 loops, but on your side you'll have 2 loops. And now I want to take this to bend this loop and this one also. Okay, and getting the new string for this. So that's a second new string, again 2 meters long, which is about 6.5 feet, getting through the 2 loops and pulling back the strings. Okay, now I'm gonna show you everything that happened on this stitch. This side, so these 2 strings are the new strings for the 5x5 stitch. This is the first side of this string, second side of this string. This one, second side of this string. Okay, you can see. And let's show you here what happened here. So in my case, my string broke apart. Doesn't matter for you, but over here, let's see. So this used to be one of the strings for using the 5x5 stitch. Now it's here, and these 2 strings are for the for back legs. It will be for back legs, and this one also was for the 5x5 stitch, and now it's not usable anymore. Okay, so after doing all this, it's time to glue the stitch here, because I don't want all this mess. These 2 strings, and not the middle strings, these are important to keep, but these 2, so these 2 and these two, I don't want them to appear anymore. So what I'm gonna do is gonna cut them. So one here, one here, and our two sides. Okay, so these two again are for the back legs. Don't cut these strings. Only these two. These two were for a 5x5 stitch, and now they are not anymore of use. So we're gonna cut them. And you can see all that's rest is the two strings that gonna be for the back legs. Okay, just to check that the two long strings should be at the center, and don't cut them. No, never cut these two strings. And because everything now is more or less done, we can glue the stitch. So I am gonna use some new type of glue. My older version, I kinda hate it right now. This one is actually quite good. R21. I don't know if you want to buy this one. So it's really good. I used it for my recent projects. So you can see all the strings. You can see the end here. So we're gonna glue it here and glue it here. You can see all the endings glue next to it, and including on the other side, this one and this one. Okay, now I'm gonna wait till the glue is dried off, and I'll make another 2 5x5 stitches, and I'll come back. I made the 2 stitches, and that's the second stitch. Before stitching, we need to now get the 2 strings at the center to the bottom of a stitch, to the bottom side. And yeah, that will be the last 5x5 stitch you'll need to make. And yeah, and also the last stitch for the body. Now let's count how many loops we have from this string. So start from the string again. 1 loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 loops. So again, from the string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If you got that, you're done with your 5x5 stitches, and we're now going to move these 2 strings to the bottom side, and then I'll stretch the entire stitch, and hopefully everything will go well. Now it's arbitrarily, you can take this string to the right side or to the left side, it doesn't matter. And again, one string will be under here, so under here, you can say, and one string under here, the farthest right side and the farthest left side, which is here. Let's do that. I'll take the string, for example, underneath our stitch, so underneath the center. Let's create the path underneath everything here to the farthest right side, let's say. See, the farthest right side, the bottom side of the stitch, of course. As you can see, taking the string, getting underneath and out. So that's the first string. Second string is also underneath to here. Let's create again the path from the center to this. Okay, so to here. And just pulling the string. Okay, so it's slowly again. So it was at the center, it's now here, and that's it. So now I'll try to stretch and see how it goes, and hopefully everything went well. Oh, actually, I'll just show you the entire stretching with time lapse. So I think 3 times the speed. So I spent another 20 minutes working on the stitch, and now it looks completely well. And let's just show you the bottom side. You see the 2 strings that were at the center are now at the bottom side. Those 2 strings, these 2 strings. And as you can tell, let's show you, this string is at the farthest left column. You can see the string is at the farthest left column, and this string will be second from last from the left side. So you see he's on the second column from left. As you can tell, one is here and one is there. And once you have this thing, you can make a stitch, right? And same goes to the right side. So this string is a farthest side from the farthest column from the right side. So this string is with this column here, on this column, and this string is second from last, which will be here. So same idea as part 7. This is the first thing that is really crucial. If you don't have this, if this string is on the left column, the farthest left column, and this string is also on the farthest left column, then you'll be in trouble. And I don't want to recommend you that. Don't try it at home. So you see, one string will be on the left, one string will be on the right to create a stitch here for the legs. And also here, one string on the right side and one string will be on the left side. And you see the stitch will work perfectly well that way. Okay, one string here and one string here, as you can tell. Now, second thing, which actually, 3 things I need to say. The second thing here is that, as you can tell, counting from this string again, final time I say it, have 1 loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And third thing, as you can tell, you can see everything here looks perfectly fine, looks exactly the same, all the loops. But when you get to the final thing, you get this zigzag thing at the center. and it's pretty much unavoidable. You can avoid that only if, that's because the wire. That's because of a wire. Now, as you can tell, there are 4 loops that you have that zigzag thing. That's because I had 4 stitches where the wire was at the top side of the stitch. If that wire was here, then it wouldn't have this zigzag pattern. Okay? Now, if you don't like this zigzag thing, you need to, at the very end, you have to have this wire at the top side. You can't avoid that. And you can't just move a wire at the very end, like at that stitch, the final stitch, move this wire at the very end. You can't do that. If you do that, then the stitch itself will look very terrible, and just I don't think it's possible. Now, if you don't want 4 stitches, you can do 2 stitches. That's a minimum amount that you can bring this wire at the top side. But you need to first bring from the center to here, and then only 2 stitches where the wire will be at the top side. This is only if you don't like this really little thing here. But I personally like it. It's a little bit more interesting that way. And yes, this is the only thing that I needed to say. And now I'm gonna cut the strings. And as I told you, those 2 strings, I'm not gonna cut them. So all the strings except the strings for the legs, this one and this one, and the 2 center strings at the top side, which will be here. You can measure and see how long they are. It's supposed to be very long, 2 meters, about 2 meters, 6 feet. Okay, I'm gonna cut now the strings. So this one is gone. Now these 2 not, skip these 2 strings, the 2 center strings. So 1, 2, and then these 2 not, and then this one, yes. Now all the left are gonna go. And also all the right strings. And all the top strings also. Again, measure. These should be shorter than these. The 2 bottom strings are for the legs, these 2, and these 2 not. So cut them. And we're not going to glue the stitch for this part because we need to do a few things to create the tail, and after creating the tail, we're gonna glue the stitch. So that is really the final thing for this part 8, and I'll show you now all the sides and everything now. So starting from the right side. Okay, left side. Top side. Bottom side. And let's show you just the stitch again. Final stitch. Oops. Okay, so see ya.